All right, after creating your classroom notebook for each of your classes, you'll notice that when you go to open them up and click the student name or your name, whoever section you're trying to open, all of the notebook sections will open up. I am working on my Earth Science team. This is, again, my file cabinet for all of my lessons, all of my write-ups. I do everything here, and then I just send them out the night before we actually do the lesson. This way the kids can focus on one lesson at a time and not feel just overwhelmed by having all of the lessons available to them. When you're ready to create a notebook entry, you're going to select the section that you would like to create one for. I'm going to select my professional development section. There will already be an untitled page there. And then if you want to create one, you can also just right click and do new page, and a new page will show up. You can also delete pages. Once you send out a page, though, you cannot take it back. So make sure it looks the way that you want. I am going to take you to some write-ups that I've already done. So on the first line is where you're going to want to write what the title of your lesson is. So for instance, the lesson I've done for you guys, I entitled Using Classroom Notebook. You'll notice that a few of the tools, which these are very basic and things that you guys can figure out just by playing around with it, which is what I have done. I'm going to click these 3 books to move it over so I can work more. But whatever you type, as long as it is there before you send it out, the students will have it on their notebook entry, and then they can change whatever they want, and it will only change their copy. It will not change anyone else's. They cannot see what other students have filled in. Other students cannot see theirs. They can only see their copy. Some things that I like to do, obviously make sure that you have it organized the way you want. I typically organize mine as claim, evidence, and reasoning because that's the setup that works for science, but maybe you have yours as a rough draft and then the students copy and paste their final and edit and change for their final copy at the bottom. Or maybe you copy and paste an image of the math worksheet and students make their notes on there. So whatever works for your subject area. Some tools that I always use, I like to bold words. I like to use these little check boxes, which you can find here if you do the little tags. It's usually used as a to-do, but I like kids to check it. A lot of the times I'll do it as a pre-assessment, then for the post-assessment, go back and change things. Just a nice way to get into the lesson so they can see how much they've learned as they went on. They can also star things or use any of these. It's cool. They can put like a little question mark, maybe if they're doing a reading that you've put in here. Lots of cool features. It looks a lot like Microsoft Word, so any of those features. So they can, and you too can click whatever you want and it can go away. Again, it will only change it for the students, not for everyone's. Below, I like to do a lot of data tables where students can put in their notes. You just go to insert, and then you can insert a table. That should be, there we go. So you can insert a table. That's always nice. And then I've organized it already, but you students can always input any notes that they want into the data table. Sometimes I like to have some sections already filled out for them. I have copied and pasted links in here to so that you guys can watch any videos, but you can copy and paste any YouTube videos. Maybe if you screencastified something and you want them to be able to watch it, especially for those students at home, they can always click that. So to add in links, you would just copy whatever you want that link to be. Let's say I'm trying to do my links for directions. The word directions that I've highlighted here, I just click link, and then I can put whatever the link address is, copy and paste that, whatever that web address is, and then do insert, and it will turn that into a link that students can then click. I like to do that a lot as they're maybe doing, if I've taken a picture of something that they need to examine, since we can't actually pass around supplies this year, that helps a lot. I'm going to scooch on down. I always like to do an assessment piece at the end, and if I have time, with the way that Microsoft Teams is set up, students can always be working and then I can just come around the room and support instead of actually going through and leading the lesson. Instead, I'm used as a tool to push students even further or support specific needs instead of teaching everyone and doing those things at the same time. So with the assessment, I do like to, if I have time, if students raise their hand and say they're done, I like to grade it right there in class to fix anything. But again, I can always access their write-up later and make notes on things and let them know when those notes are done. Here I'm asking they can look back on their pre-assessment. They can always make changes to those. Drawing a line from teacher to the subject they teach. So maybe if you want to do like a connect the lines, they can go to the draw feature. They can select the pen and easily draw a line from maybe the statement to the answer, whatever it is. They do need to click the arrow again to get out of that though. Highlighting is always a nice tool. Maybe if you've given them a reading or if they've done an essay and you want them to go back and highlight their support in a certain color, that would be a really great tool to use. They can copy and paste pictures really easily. Smiley face emoji. Let's say I want a smiley face emoji on here. I can just, let me look up images. Maybe I just copy image, and then you can very easily, oh, of course it's going to make me, there we go. So I have students like copy and paste models that they can show to represent what they've learned. They can input more questions. And then done, take your learning a bit deeper by clicking this link. Another thing I love about using Microsoft Teams is that you can give extension activities. I felt like before I was always saying, okay, you can read or do work for another class, but this way I'm not having to put a list on the board of extra things. I can provide links right there for them to do other interactive activities or watch different videos that just extend upon what we're already learning. There are many, many tools. I just kind of scratched the surface of what a typical write-up would look like for me and some tools I like to use: bolding, highlighting, doing the boxes, data tables. I like to add links, some sort of draw feature, adding in images, things like that. But there's lots of different options. They can always insert different pictures that maybe they take a picture of something that they do. There's obviously, you can see here this audio. They're different, just cool things you can do. I don't know a lot about the math, but if you're teaching math, this might be something to experiment with to make it a little bit more user-friendly for math. I do know that it is a little bit more difficult because you don't get to show the process as much through classroom notebook versus if you are writing it. Emojis, maybe you could have them put that next to something to show what they've learned. So lots of different features and tools that you can use. So this is how you would do a notebook entry in one of the sections of your notebook.